dynamics, welding, additive manufacturing, and various other fields. Dr. V. Dinkaran is an author of abundant articles in peer-reviewed journals, as well as he is the author and editor of various handbooks in research areas published with Elsevier, Taylor, Francis, and Springer. He is an associate editor of the Journal of Robotics and Control and editorial board member in American Research Journal of Biomedical Engineering. Please kindly type your doubts and questions in the chat box, and all the questions will be entertained after the lecture one by one. Also, don't forget to fill up the feedback forms. E-certificates will also be provided on the basis of the attendance and feedback form. The link will be provided during or after this session in the chat box. Without wasting time, I would like to ask Dinkaran sir to please take the metaphorical mic.
Thank you so much for your introduction. I thank the SRM material chapter and all the organizers for providing this opportunity to share my experience in this wonderful forum. And also I thank Mr. Kurbal Singh, who has contacted me to deliver this lecture, and all the organizers and the management. And also I thank the management, principal and HOD of Chennai Institute of Technology and of Mechanical Engineering for allowing me to share my experience in this wonderful forum. So let me share my screen. I'm unable to share my screen. Can you allow me? So.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sir, you can try now.
Yeah. Yes.
Participants, I would request you to please keep your mic switch off and your cameras. Thank you.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Okay. So thank you once again, and I welcome all the participants. So the today talk is on additive manufacturing for engineers. So as it was introduced, I am Dinakaran. I am from Chennai Institute of Technology. Okay. So additive manufacturing. So now everyone is spelling that word, additive manufacturing. So recently also, our Honorable Prime Minister has stated additive manufacturing is one of the emerging technology in his talk. So all the government authorities are taking huge effort in familiarizing this technology to the entire research community as well as for the public. So with additive manufacturing is highly used nowadays because of the reduced cost. Okay, so the part cost or the manufacturing cost for the additive manufactured product will be very less. And one of the very good advantage of additive manufacturing is there will be less material wastage. There will be less material wastage, and you do not need to wait for a long time to get the product, because of which the time to market the product will be very less. So these are the major advantages of additive manufacturing. So reduced part cost, less material wastage, and the time to market is very less. Okay, because of this, the additive manufacturing is highly used nowadays. Okay. So apart from this, it has enabled design freedom. It gets enabled design freedom, and how it has enabled is weight saving. So you can go for structure like lattice structures. This is one of the emerging research area in additive manufacturing. That is called lattice structure. So we will see what is lattice structure in future in our further presentation. And they, you do not need to produce different subcomponents, and they do not need to be assembled together. They do not need to be assembled together. So if, for example, if a component has 16 subcomponents which are to be produced by a traditional manufacturing system, and all these 16 subcomponents need to be assembled together to form their main assembly. In additive manufacturing, it does not need to be produce the single component. So the whole assembly can be produced by the additive manufacturing. So because of this increased design freedom, the additive manufacturing is being familiar nowadays. So for any additive manufacturing system, three components are very important. One is motion system, another one is heat source, another one is feedstock. So these three systems are highly required in order to experience this additive manufacturing system. So the basic difference between the additive manufacturing, subtractive manufacturing, and formative manufacturing. In formative manufacturing, so the molten metal has to be poured into the mold cavity, and the required component will be manufactured. Whereas in subtractive manufacturing, the raw material has to be processed through any one of the material processing technology in order to achieve the correct component, in order to get the correct component. Okay. So in subtractive manufacturing, almost 50% of material is being utilized to manufacture the particular component. Okay. In formative manufacturing system, the material has to be heated and the molten material has to be formed, and it has to be poured into the mold cavity to form the material. Okay. So in formative manufacturing and subtractive manufacturing, so lot of material wastage will be, and especially in subtractive manufacturing, the material wastage will be at least around 50%. Okay. So there is a new technology, that is the additive manufacturing technology, which does not want to waste the material. There, the material is being manufactured, or the product is being manufactured layer by layer according to our compatibility. Okay, so these are the primary difference between the formative and subtractive and additive manufacturing technologies. Okay, so now the material, so earlier days, what we had used is, we had used the traditional manufacturing, traditional manufacturing system, and we use the traditional materials. You can say stainless steel, aluminum, and these are some traditional materials, and they are very low cost. They are very low cost materials. So since you have been using the low cost material, the cost of the material may not be or need not to be worried when you go for the processing of the materials. But nowadays we use the high cost material like titanium, zirconium. These are very high cost material, and especially when you consider titanium, so it is highly used in aerospace applications, and also in biomedical applications. Okay, so since it records high cost, we do not need to waste the material and also when you use the subtractive manufacturing to process the titanium, you need to spend a lot of time and cost, because of which to process the high cost material, additive manufacturing is one of the very good technology.
Sir, audio not clear, sir. Slow கேக்குது sir. Audio not clear.
Okay. So is it okay now?
Yes, it's fine now, sir. You can carry on.
Still there is a less voice.
You can please
Confirm with
check your
others, sir.
internet connection. The audio is fine.
Yeah. Please, Mr. Kurbal Singh, if any difficulties, please you can interact me if you are finding any difficulties.
Sure, sir. The audio is fine, sir. I guess the participant must be having internet issues.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Audio is fine, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. So hence, we are highly concentrating on additive manufacturing to process the high-cost materials and the materials which are being used in the industries. So additive manufacturing, so what is being done? So here, you need to have the CAD-based 3D models, CAD-based 3D models, and the 3D models has to be converted into a .stl file. 3D model has to be converted into a .stl file. You can use any modeling softwares to generate the CAD model. Like you can use CATIA or SolidWorks, and then the type of file has to be converted into .stl file, and after that the .stl file can be subjected to slicing the layers, because the additive manufacturing, the product will be manufactured layer by layer. Hence, according to our compatibility, according to our process, the entire product has to be sliced into layer by layer. Then the sliced layer has to be given into the AM system, additive manufacturing system. Then the part will be manufactured by the additive manufacturing system. And once the part has been manufactured, it has to be processed for getting the correct product or right product by using any surface finishing methods. Like this is the general procedure used in the additive manufacturing techniques. So you should have the CAD models. The CAD models can be processed by any modeling softwares. Then it has the type of the model or the file format of the model has to be converted into .stl file. Then the particular file has to be sliced into layer by layer. Then that has to be fed into additive manufacturing system in order to produce the required component. Then it has to be finished to have good surface finish. Then classification of additive manufacturing. So I want to classify, as I said, the three things are highly essential. One is heat source, then another one is feedstock material, another one is motion system. Okay, so any additive manufacturing holds three systems. Okay, so here we want to classify based on the heat source utilized. So here the heat source may be either beam heat source or arc heat source. Okay, beam heat source means you can use laser beam or electron beam to manufacture the particular material. Okay, so laser beam you can use in both laser and electron beam. We use laser and electron beam. You can use either wire or powder. Okay, wire or powder. Okay, so the wire can be melted by the laser, or the powder can be melted by the laser to produce the particular component. Okay, we will see how the laser is being used to melt the wire or powder in the forthcoming slides. And the wire will be melted by using the laser heat source or electron beam heat source, and that will be deposited in the substrate material in order to attain the correct shapes. Okay, correct material. Okay, so see, we have laser, we have heat source, and wire is the feedstock material. In order to obtain the correct shape, the motion system will help you. The motion system will help you in order to obtain the correct shapes. Okay, that the motion system is helping you, or will be helping you. Okay, and then when you use the powder can be fed in the bed system. The powder can be fed in the bed, or the powder can be blown. Okay, there is a difference between the making the powder in the bed or flowing the powder. Or when the powder is blown, the powder will be directly heated. The powder will be heated by the heat source, and then melted material will be deposited on the surface or the substrate material. Whereas when you use powder, the powder first will be spread in the bed, then selectively it will be melted by the laser heat source. Okay, you should understand the primary difference in the powder blown technology. while coming from the nozzle itself, the powder will be heated, and the molten material or melted material will be deposited on the substrate material. This is the powder blown technology. Whereas in the powder bed technology, the powder will be spread in the bed. Then it will be selectively melted. Okay, you should understand the difference. Okay, then when use the laser heats for heating the powder, then there may be a selective laser melting. The technology is selective laser melting. And when you use powder, that may be a direct laser fabrication, because materials straightaway melted and it is used to form the shape. Okay. Then electron beam also, you can say electron beam melting. And when you use wire, is a Siaki technique. Then because it is coming as the molten material is Siaki. And when you use arc, you can use a TIC, or you can use MIC, or you can use plasma. Okay, you can use a TIC or MIC or plasma, tungsten inert gas welding or metal inert gas welding or plasma. Okay, any one of these heat source may be used to melt the wire. Okay, any one of the heat source may be used to melt the wire, and the melt wire may be deposited in order to form the correct shape of the material. Okay, so here you need to have the motion system, right? Motion system will only help you to attain the correct shapes or the required shape. So here, what the people are doing, they use the robotic system. And the torch of the particular heat source is given to the hand of the robot, and the wire feed will be coming from other system. Then it will be melted. And it will be helping you to achieve the correct shapes. Okay, so this system is called wire plus arc additive manufacturing system, or wire arc additive manufacturing. Okay, so this is the classification based on the types of heat source used. Okay, then classification based on the technology or techniques. Okay, so binder jetting. So when you use a binder jetting technology, so we use when there may be two layers. In between the two layers, a binder can be used to bond or to make bonding between these two layers. Okay, so this is called powder bed and inject printing. Powder bed and inject 3D printing, and based on the powder-based diffusion, as I said, powder-based diffusion, and you can use a direct energy deposition. Direct energy deposition means directly the wire will be melted, and it will be deposited on the surface. Or directly the powder will be melted, and the melted powder or molten material will be deposited on the substrate material. That is called direct energy deposition. Okay, directly your energy is utilized to melt the material, then the molten material is deposited on the surface. This is called direct energy deposition. Whereas in the powder-based diffusion, the powder will be spread in the substrate material. Then selectively, with the help of the motion system, the laser heat will heat, and the material will be formed. Okay, this happens in the powder-based system. Here, the types may be a direct metal laser sintering, and selective laser sintering, and selective laser melting, or electron beam melting. Okay, so here you should understand the difference between sintering and melting. Okay, sintering and melting is a very, very important difference. You should understand. And melting, the material will be taken to its melting temperature. For example, if you take Ta6Al4V, titanium 6Al4V, or simply it is called as Ti64 material, the melting point may be 1950 Kelvin. Okay, so if the process used is melting, then the material will be, or the powder will be melted to 1950 Kelvin, then the process will continue or will be continued. Okay, whereas in sintering, the material, for example, if you take titanium 6Al4U alloy, the material will not be brought into, or the material will not be heated to 1950 Kelvin. Okay, so it may be heated up to 1000 Kelvin or maybe 800 Kelvin. Okay, then the pressure will be applied. The pressure will be applied, because of which the material will be, or the bond will be together, or material will be joined together, or the layer will be joined together. Okay, so that is the difference between sintering and melting. You should understand. Sintering, the material will not be brought or will not be heated until its melting temperature. Okay, and whereas in the melting, the material will be heated to melting temperature, and the material will be joined together in the liquid form. Here it happens in the solid form. Whereas in sintering, see, it is not melted, there will be no phase transfer. Okay, in the single phase, in the solid phase itself, the material will be joined together because of the application of the pressure. Okay, so this happens in the sintering. Okay, then sheet lamination. So ultrasonic consolidation. Okay, so the different sheets can be joined together, can be fused together with the help of some pressure, with the help of some vibration, or the heat generated by vibration. Then that is called ultrasonic consolidation. Okay, we will be seeing in detail about all these technologies. Okay. Now further, see, I want to classify based on the polymer utilization, how the polymer materials is being utilized in the additive manufacturing. Because when you go for metal additive manufacturing, it is very costly one. It is a very costly. Okay, so additive manufacturing will help you to realize the common immediately. Okay, so in early days, in olden days, what you needed to do, you need to go for making the die. You are making to make the die. Then die has to be ordered to some other person, die manufacturers. Then they will supply the die. Then you will go for manufacturing the particular component. Okay. At that time only, you will be able to touch and feel the component. Now you have the modeling softwares there. You can able to, you will be able to design the component. You will be visualizing the 3D part, but it will not give touch and feel effect. Okay, now you have 3D printing machines. Since the metal additive manufacturing is high cost, or the machine cost is very high, immediately you cannot manufacture a particular part, and you cannot visualize. You can have the touch and feel effects. Okay, we have the 3D printing technology, polymer printing technology with low cost machines. Okay, hence the polymer is playing a major role when 3D printing is concerned. Okay, so generally there are two types of physics, or two types of fusion is being utilized. One is thermal reaction bonding, and the one is chemical reaction bonding. Okay, so in thermal reaction bonding, so the flammable material may be deposited, maybe the flammable material used, or it will be melted. The flammable material will come. It will be flowing through the nozzle. While it is flowing through the nozzle, it will be heated, and the molten material will be extruded through the nozzle, and it will be deposited on the particular surface in order to make the correct particular material, particular product. Okay, or sometimes you can use liquid. The liquid will be allowed to flow through the nozzle, and the required shape of the component will be obtained. Okay, so that is happening in terms of binder jetting. What binder jetting will happen? So first layer over the layer, the binder will be applied as an inject or jet, or maybe as an ink, which is in the liquid form. Then other layer will be then the resin or liquid will be added. Then other layer will be, so like that the material is being formed. Okay, and powder material I said already. Okay, so the thermal reaction bonding will be there. In chemical reaction bonding, So the VAT polymerization, VAT photopolymerization. Okay, VAT photopolymerization. What is that process? Then when the liquid material, there will be a liquid material. The liquid material exposed to UV lighting, and selectively it is exposed based on the common which is going to be manufactured. Okay, based on the common which is going to be manufactured, in the selectively the liquid material is exposed, then the solid will be formed, or the required common will be formed. So okay, that is that is the wet photopolymerization. Okay, so this is because of the chemical reaction bonding. Okay, then these are the classification of AM based on the thermal reaction bonding and chemical reaction bonding. Okay, then where this additive manufacturing is used, is used. Okay, so nowadays it is used in all the applications. Additive manufacturing is used in all the applications. But however, I want to say few applications. And see, when you go for biomedical, it is being used. When you go for automotive, it is being used. When you go for aerospace, it is being used. Okay, when you want to make some household materials, it is being used. Okay, so it is playing a role in all the applications. Okay, so additive manufacturing almost captured the application in the entire world. Okay, so now it is being developed to overcome the traditional manufacturing system. So the mass manufacturing, the mass common manufacturing is still difficult. Is being still difficult in the case of additive manufacturing. But nowadays the different technologies are actually different technologies are being emerged together in the additive manufacturing in order to bring the manufacturing technique for mass manufacturing. Okay, so a lot of developments are coming day by day. Okay, so aerospace material. When you go for aerospace applications, you are using aluminum, stainless steel, titanium, or cobalt, or nickel superalloys. When you compare these materials, among these materials, as I said, aluminum, stainless steel, titanium, cobalt, or nickel, the titanium material is highly used in aerospace application. Okay, the titanium material is highly used in aerospace application. Just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Okay, so titanium material is highly used in the aerospace industry. The reason is when you compare the titanium with stainless steel or aluminum, see the aluminum may be having 2,500 to 2,800 kilogram per metric cube, the density. Stainless steel is around 7,000. Okay, 7,800 kilogram per metric cubes when you compare with stainless steel. Okay, see the titanium is having only 4,000 to 4,200 kilogram per metric cube. Okay. See, almost maybe the density may be double the time of aluminum, and maybe two-third of stainless steel. But the strength provided by the titanium is enormous. Hence, the titanium is highly used in the aerospace industry. Okay, so when you go for titanium and its family, Ta6Al4V, titanium 6Al4V, that is one of the important alloy which is being used in the aerospace as well as in the biomedical applications. Okay. See, the simply it is called as Ti64 in industry. Ti64 is called as a workhorse of titanium. Ti64 is called as workhorse of titanium. The reason is almost if 100% of material, materials is 100% of material is going to be chosen from titanium and its alloys. Among that, 80% of material will be chosen from Ti-64. Try to understand the importance of Ti-64 material. Hence, the Ti-64 material is one of the important material as far as the aerospace is concerned. Okay, then medical application. The Ta6Al4V alloy is biocompatible material. So biocompatible material. Because of its biocompatibility, it is being used in dental applications, knee joint, okay, knee hub. So instead of bone, the Ti-64 is being used. Okay, because of its biocompatibility. Okay, then it is the stainless steel is being used in energy oil applications. Then automotive application uses aluminum or stainless steel or titanium. Okay, so see, in aluminum, in automotive industry also, nowadays slowly they are going to adopt the weight penalty. Then the titanium is one of the better candidates, which is able to give the strength, higher strength than the traditional material like aluminum and stainless steel. Okay, then since the applications are being chosen in the area where the measurability and weldability is highly required. Okay, see, Inconel 718, among the nickel-based alloys, nickel-based super alloys, there are a lot of alloys, Inconel 718, Inconel 625, and Hast alloy. So a lot of grades are available, among which the Inconel 718 and titanium are having a very good weldability characteristics. Because of weldability characteristics, this also being used. These two materials are being used in the different applications. Okay, and also we have experienced the joining of two Inconel plates, and we have studied the weldability characteristics personally. Okay, then corrosion resistance, where the corrosion resistance is also very, very important when a material is being used, like when material is used for marine applications. When used for marine applications, the material should have very high corrosion. Okay, so that in the area also additive manufacturing is highly used, and somewhere the tools and molds have to be manufactured in that industry also. The additive manufacturing is highly being used. Is highly being used. Okay, then among the when you look into the material, 51% of materials are polymers in the additive manufacturing, and in 29% metal and polymers are then commonly used, and metals 98% of metal is being used in the additive manufacturing industry. Okay, see, because of the low cost and easy availability, the polymer material is highly used in the additive manufacturing. And when you look into the application in the industries, see, aerospace industry use 18.9% of the additive manufacturing technology. Okay, the utilization of additive manufacturing technology. Okay, it uses almost 19%, and industry and business sector to make the machineries. Okay, 20% of 20%. It is in 20%, and in the automotive sector, especially in the motor vehicles, 16% of additive manufacturing technology is used, and consumer products and power electronics and electronics 11.7%, and medical and dental application 11.3%, and academic research, academic institutions 7.9% is being used, and others are 7%. Okay, then and direct energy deposition method. Already I have clearly explained in the classification itself. However, we will see with the video. Okay, see here, as I said, the material will be coming through the injection nozzle. In the injection nozzle itself, the material will be heated by the laser beam. Okay, while the material coming out from the nozzle will be a molten material. Okay, there will be a molten material. Then the molten material will be deposited on the substrate material in order to form the correct part. Okay, so this is happening in the direct energy deposition. Okay, so let me play a video. Please understand how this is being used. See, the powder is coming. The powder is coming, and see, it is going to be melted by the laser. Here, see, laser heat is coming. Okay, so here itself, observe once again, powder is coming. Immediately, it is heated by laser, and the molten material will be formed. And it is deposited as per our requirement. This is direct energy deposition. See, from the nozzle, molten material is coming. Okay, so you might have understand clearly what is direct energy deposition. So the material is melted in the nozzle itself, and it is it is deposited on the substrate material. Okay, then electron BMS. So if you use wire arc, the wire means the wire will come by the wire is fed. Wire is fed. The electron beam will melt the wire, and it will be deposited on the surface. Okay, on the surface. Okay, so there will be a separate wire feeding system, and in order to have the correct shape of the pot, the motion system will help to achieve the correct required part. Okay, so as I said, you can use a TIC heat source or MIC heat source, or you can use plasma heat source for these things. Okay, so let me play a video. See, wire is coming. See, the wire is coming from the nozzle, and it is heated by the laser source. Here maybe electron beam or laser heat also you can use moderate beam. Please observe, please remember one thing. See how fast the the part has been manufactured in the direct energy deposition in the previous video, and observe this video, and observe the volume of manufacturing or volume of deposition you observe here. Okay, so the direct energy deposition and the how the wire is being utilized to form the correct shapes. Okay. So when you use laser beam technology, it's okay. So the motion system is very much important. The motion system very much important, and also the support structure. The support structure is very important. What's the support structure? The support structure will help you to prevent the distortion. Will help you to prevent the distortion, and the scanning speed of the heat source. Scanning speed is playing a major role in the when you use the powder-based technology. Okay, when you use powder bed technology, the scanning speed will play a major role. Okay, so I tell you why it is. Okay, in the powder bed fusion, as I said, the powder will be first. Powder will be spread on the bed. Powder is spread on the bed. Then the selectively, based on the pot which is to be manufactured, selectively to be heated and melted. Then the other coating, other layer of powder will be added. Then it will be melted. Then other layer of powder will be added. Then it will be melted. Like that, the record common will be manufactured. What will happen once the first layer is made? It will come down. It will come down. Then it will move up to coat a layer powder. Okay, it will move to coat a powder layer. Then it will be heated. Then it will come down. Then it will move up to coat another layer. Then it will move up like that. The record pot will be manufactured. Okay, the control system is highly important. Is essential to obtain this correct pot. Okay, obtain the correct pot. So let me play video. Okay, so CAD model is made. See, the unit gas is very, very important. Why it requires unit gas? See, the titanium material is highly reactive with the environment. Okay, so at elevated temperature. Okay, so when it is exposed at higher temperature, it will react easily with the oxygen, and oxides will be formed. Okay, so when oxide is formed, so it will not yield correct cell. Okay, that is first case. Okay, the primary use of argon gas is to protect the molten pool, or to isolate the molten pool from the environment. Okay, see, I said at the higher temperature, the material will easily combine with the oxygen which is in the environment. Okay, then there should be the production. The production can be made with any inert gas, maybe argon or hydrogen or helium or combination of argon and helium. Okay, it can be used. Okay. So mostly argon is used with 99.9% purity. Mostly argon is used as the inert gas, Okay, so please understand when the titanium material, for example, I am saying when the titanium material or powder heated at elevated temperature, at higher temperature, it can easily combine with the atmospheric gases and it will form oxide easily, which is not good. Hence, we need to protect the molten pool from the atmosphere. Hence, an inert atmosphere is created. In order to create an inert atmosphere, argon gas is used. See, the excess powder is removed. Excess powder is removed. Then it is selectively heating. It is selectively melting based on our requirements. So once it is completed, it has to be blown with the air to identify the pots. You will be able to manufacture multiple pots based on the bed dimension. Okay. Titanium blades. Sensor elements, heat exchanger. Okay, so this is how the powder bed fusion technology works. Okay, then ultrasonic additive manufacturing process. See here, the metals are arranged together. See, because of the vibration generated, because the vibration, the heat is generated. Then the heat is helping it to join the different layers. See here, four layers of materials. See, this is the accumulating direction. This accumulating direction as a vibration direction. See, it will vibrate in this way. Because of the vibration, the heat will be generated. The heat will be helped to accumulate the material together. Okay. See, this is the rolling direction. Okay, this will vibrate in this direction and it will move along this. Okay, so like this, the ultrasonic additive manufacturing process is to manufacture the product. Okay, in Pioneer Jet process, I said the inject is a powder bed. The powder bed, the inject is applied. The liquid is applied. Once the liquid is applied, the roller will spread the powder. Then the ink will be applied. Then it will spread the powder. Then ink will be applied. Like that, the required part will be manufactured in the Pioneer Jet technique. In the fusion deposition modeling, the FDM technique is everywhere available in the almost in all the educational institution. This is available, and also now the price has been reduced drastically. Now you will be able to purchase the FDM machine even for 20,000 rupees. Okay, so it's available. This is available everywhere. So see, it will be coming through the material, the filament material. This spool, wire spool. The wire filament will be coming through the nozzle, where it is heated heating element, maybe electric heater. Then the melted material or the molten material will be deposited on the substrate material to arrive at the required component. Okay, so this is happening in the fusion deposition modeling. Okay, so see the wire spool. You can have the multiple spool and multiple nozzle also, in order to have the different colors, or in order to reduce the part manufacturing time. You can use the multi-spool or multi-head nozzle to manufacture the particular product to reduce the time. Then, how you can characterize the AIM process? How you can go for characterizing the AIM process? See, production time is playing a major role. How the production time is playing a major role? See, as I said, I have said to observe the volume of deposition in the two different technologies. Okay, if you have seen the powder-based additive manufacturing technology and direct energy deposition techniques. Okay, in the direct energy deposition, see the volume of manufacturing, the volume of the part manufacturing will be very high. Whereas in the powder-based additive manufacturing technique, this layer by layer is it is sliced into thin layer. This thin layer, and slowly the part is manufactured. Okay, the part manufacturing time will be very high. Will be very high in case of powder-based technology, and whereas in direct energy deposition, the volume of deposition will be very high. And also see the direct energy deposition technique also, when you use powder, the volume of deposition will be very less. And when you use wire, the volume of deposition will be very high. Okay, so the production time is very, very important. Okay, the production time will be very high when you use powder-based technology, and also when you use powder-based direct energy deposition. And the production time will be very less when you go for wire-based direct energy deposition technique. And this is first thing. Second thing, when you are going to produce some component with accuracy, when very good dimensional accuracy, see, you will not be able to go with wire arc additive manufacturing or wire arc based direct energy deposition techniques. You cannot use that. See, this good surface finish you cannot obtain. It needs to be subjected to further surface finishing technologies, and you need to put lot of effort and time to finish the surface. Whereas in powder-based techniques, you do not need to spend much more time to manufacture or to worry about the surface finish. Okay, so this is very, very important. Okay, and also I said the difference, but the characterization is based on production time and size of the component to be manufactured or to be fabricated, and the ability to produce the intrinsic components. Intrinsic components are complicated components, and the product quality, as I said, the product quality, dimension accuracy are helping to characterize the AIM process. And organizer, how much time you can take further?
Sir, it is almost 5, so I guess 5 minutes.
I will take 5 minutes. We will extend within 5 we will complete. I will take 5 minutes.
Sure.
Then I will be 5 minutes. We can be given for question and answers. Then we will make it 5. Okay.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. Right. Okay. And a good surface finish is required. And I said where good surface is required. Okay. Then factors contributing to the surface quality. Surface quality is contributed by alloy type. What is alloy to be used for manufacturing a particular component? And then powder marbology, powder shape, size, marbology, and types of heat source and focal spot size. Laser focal part. So when large focal spot sizes are chosen, it may not be appropriate for particular some of the components. Okay, so the focal spot size also very, very important to which will be contributing to the surface quality of the AIM. Okay, and feedstock material, and how the feedstock material is manufactured. Feedstock material is generally manufactured with three processes: gas automation process, rotary automation process, and plasma rotating electron process. Okay, see, this is manufactured by plasma rotating electron process, and this has been manufactured by rotary automation process. This has been manufactured by gas automation process. Okay, see, in the accuracy level, how the accuracy is being, when you go for prep process, it will go, the marbleage will be very fine. You will be able to obtain fine particle. Okay, when you go for prep process and other process accordingly. Okay, so but the cost of the powder will be very high when it was produced by plasma rotating electrode process or prep process. Then the cost will be somewhat low for the rotary automation than for gas automation process. Okay, feedstock material is very important. Okay, see, you should understand the principles of heat and mass transfer and fluid flow. See, it is, the process will be similar to welding. However, it is not at all highly related to welding. Okay, the process is different. Okay, in welding, entire materials liquid for the particular instant, entire materials are melted together, and the local material pool is formed, then solidifies. Here in wire additive manufacturing, it is not like that. One layer is, for example, for powder-based technology, first single layer is formed, then it is formed by forming liquid, then it is solidified, then other layer powder is coated, then the technology is different. Okay, so you have to carefully understand the principle of heat here. That means transport phenomena. Entirely, you can say heat, mass transfer, and fluid flow can be simply called as transport phenomena. So you should understand the principles of transport phenomena in the wire arc additive manufacturing. Okay, then the heat source. I told you, heat source. The heat source is very important when you go for numerical modeling. See, I said now we are using titanium material, zirconium material. These are high cost material. You cannot go physically to manufacture all the materials, and you cannot use the time. You cannot use the cost. Okay, so hence you can go for numerical simulation or computational mechanics, that the heat source model will be playing a major role. Heat source model. Okay, heat source model means how the heat is penetrating into the material. Okay, especially the double epicyclic heat source, conical Gaussian heat source, multiple three-dimensional Gaussian heat source. These are the heat sources which are available to simulate the laser beam additive manufacturing process, or electron beam additive manufacturing process, or plasma arc based additive manufacturing process. Okay, so double epicyclic heat source, which assumes the two ellipse as the heat source to simulate the mimic the particular process, and then they use 3D volumetric heat source, then modified thermodynamic heat source. Then now I am going to propose. I have already proposed Dinakaran's heat source model for welding. Now I am doing research to use Dinakaran's model in numerical simulation in order to mimic the wire arc additive manufacturing process. I am using Dinakaran's model. Okay, so I told how Dinakaran's model has been brought out, and final simulation. So if you want to analyze only the temperature distribution, then you can use the Fourier's law for heat reduction to analyze the go for FE analysis. This is the general three-dimensional Fourier's heat reduction law. In this, the QV represent the heat source models. Q represents the heat source model. The particular heat source model, either Gaussian heat source or double epicyclic heat source or volumetric heat source or Dinakaran's heat source, can be used, and the equations can be substituted, and this equation can be solved by any FEA system, FEA final method, by applying proper boundary conditions. These are the boundary conditions can be used for generating. Okay, and see, when you go for only thermomechanical analysis, you can use Fourier's law of heat reduction to predict the temperature distribution. Further, the temperature can be given as the input for the structural model. Then the structural model will be helping you to predict the distortion and all. But when you go for analyzing the fluid flow, and especially transport phenomena, then you should consider conservation of mass, conservation of momentum, conservation of energy. Conservation of energy, simply you can use Fourier's law of heat conduction. For conservation of momentum, you should use what we call Navier-Stokes equation, and also you should use different laws or different forces, like Marangoni force, the fluid flow. In the fluid flow, lot of forces are occurring. Marangoni force, Lorentz force, electromagnetic force. These are forces should be considered, and consideration of mass should be considered. I say the different forces are considered in order to simulate these things. Okay, and say a model can be used on the layer, single layer, the 11th layer, and 12th layer. See, the temperature will be the temperature distribution. You can observe in a different manner in the first layer and 22nd layer, because the first layer, when it is formed, it has enough place for the temperature distribution. The heat transfer can be taken place, but here there is immediately one layer over another layer. It is happening. There will be much more area for the transfer of heat. Okay, so they see the fluid flow can be beautifully generated by using any softwares. Okay. So these are the publications we have based on additive manufacturing from our group. So we have published. Now this has been increased 15. We have published more than 15 research articles in the additive manufacturing, and these are the references which have helped me to present this expert talk. And also I would like to thank Dr. Dr. Debray, who is professor in the Pennsylvania State University. He is from India. His lecture also, his lecture and his research publication also helped me to present this lecture. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir. It was an enlightening speech, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
It was an enlightening talk, sir. I'm sure that all of us learned a lot from it, and it has entered a wider horizon of thought process as students and engineers. Now, I request all participants positively fill up the feedback forms. The link which is given in the chat box. The link will be active till 1 hour after the end of the talk. The certificate will also be provided on base of attendance and submission of feedback form. Now, sir, can we take the doubts from the participants?
Yeah, please, you can take. I hope I wanted to teach much more, but I hope I have covered the very good fundamentals. So if you understood the correct fundamentals, you will be able to do anything in the additive manufacturing. I hope I might have given some input.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was very enlightening. Also, one more request for the participants. We have shared a link for WhatsApp chat for our future communications and our future upcoming webinars. So please do join the WhatsApp, so it will be easier for us to communicate between the upcoming webinars. So now we can take the doubts, sir.
Please.
Sir, can I read the questions from the chat box?
Yeah, please, you can read.
Yes, sir. Like the first question was, sir, I want to ask which AM technique is best for medical applications?
Yeah, so medical applications, as of now, the powder-based technology is highly used. Okay, so whether you can use any heat source, laser heat source, or you can use EBM heat source, the powder-based technology is very good for what we call medical applications, rather than wire-based additive manufacturing techniques.
Sir, I'm going to the second question, sir.
Please.
Is power bed method more accurate than the direct energy deposition method, since the power bed method takes more time to give a finished product?
Yes. Yeah. In direct energy deposition also you have powder base. See, powder bed based is one, powder based one. Okay, powder based means we are spreading the powder and we are selectively heating the spot to manufacture the component. Okay, whereas in direct energy deposition also we have powder base. Okay, so powder will come and it will be hit in the nozzle, then the motor material will be deposit on the substrate material. Okay. See, when the powder based techniques and powder based direct energy techniques, when you compare the powder based direct energy deposition will be much more faster than the powder bed based technique. Okay. Okay. So you should note this point. I hope I might have answered your question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let us go for the next question, sir.
Yeah, please.
Like, is laser power bed fusion available in Tamil Nadu? If yes, where I can contact?
Yeah, it is available in Tamil Nadu. So you can personally you can contact me. So I hope it is available in the NIT Trichy as NIT Trichy as of my knowledge is concerned, and IIT Madras it is available. I hope I am not sure, but NIT Trichy is available.
Okay, sir. And the next
I
question.
am cooperating with the DRDO lab to manufacture the components.
Okay, sir. As an academician, if we want to work on AIM with joint collaboration for proposal writing, initially where we can contact?
Yeah, see, as if you completed your doctoral degree, so lot of proposals are coming from SERB and DST and AST. Lot of funding opportunities available, so you can apply for that. And also, if you are a learner, if you are a student, then you have to approach some companies, or you have to look into some other sources for funding opportunities. But at the student level, the wide funding is not available from the government agencies or any industries.
Okay, sir.
One
Let us go
question.
for the next.
Yeah.
Participants, please write in the chat box if you have questions. Like, he'll be answering. Like, sir, for the next question,
Yeah, please.
which software is applicable for doing the work on thermomechanical
Mechanical
finite
modeling.
element modeling?
Yeah. So if you want to go for only work on thermomechanical modeling, you can go for Abacus. If you want to go for only thermomechanical modeling, you can go for Abacus. Especially if you want to go for wire arc additive manufacturing, you can go for Abacus. Okay, Abacus is best for thermomechanical modeling. When you go to simulate the transportation phenomena like heat and fluid flow, then you should go for ANSYS. Okay, you can go for ANSYS, but you can go for COMSOL multiphysics. There you can simulate any physics. You can go for COMSOL multiphysics. Okay, for structural modeling and structural modeling is concerned, what we call Abacus is best tool. For fluid flow and all, you can go for ANSYS, or you can go for OpenFOAM also. You can go for OpenFOAM. So OpenFOAM is an open source software. OpenFOAM, you can write coding in C++, and you can make use of OpenFOAM for simulating these things. And COMSOL multiphysics can also be used.
Okay, sir. Coming
Thank
to
you.
next question.
Yeah.
How are building printed from 3D printers like China does?
From?
How are building printed from 3D printers like China does?
So I hope question is not clear.
Yes, sir.
So we are
Sir,
having one more question.
I'll read out the question.
Yeah, please.
How are building printed from 3D printers like China does?
Building 3D printers.
Yeah. Sir, building.
Sir, how are buildings constructed, sir?
Oh, okay. Building construction. Okay. So now recently, IIT Madras is trying to build, make a building using 3D printing. So in India, it is only emerging. So India, at a large, we have not concentrated so far. It is being started, but it is possible. It is possible, and the wide scopes are available for research in the printing of buildings.
Okay, sir. Let us go
Thank
to
you,
the
sir.
next question.
So there's one more question.
Yeah,
Sir,
last
economic
question.
feasibility and availability of AM technique to assign work to students.
Yeah, students, see, at the student level, you can realize using the for fusion deposition modeling. Okay, FDM is available everywhere. FDM is available everywhere. You can work on that, but lot of scopes are available. Okay, so our center is highly work on additive manufacturing techniques, both metal and polymer. And the two of my students are working on developing new material for new polymer material for wire additive manufacturing. And also we are working on simulation of powder bed manufacturing process. Okay, so scopes are highly available. If you want to have any personal request on, if you want to, still I am also searching for some students who are willing to work on new material development for 3D printing. So, or if you want to have any personal clarification, if you want to enrich your knowledge, please you can approach me.
Sure, sir. Sir, just one question from my side. So, like when we are making any product from additive manufacturing, is there any residual stresses that need to be relieved in the material after manufacturing?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. You have to go for post-processing. You have to go for post-processing, and you need to properly concentrate on fixture and the layer thickness. Fixture layer thickness. It needs to be properly concentrated in order to make the minimization of residuals. So I wanted to present that also, how to mitigate the residuals. Because of time availability, I did not go. But residuals is highly challenging in the additive manufacturing component. So in order to reduce or to minimize the experimental trials, what you can do, you can go for what we call simulation is one of the better way to go for reduce experimental trials as far as the distortion is concerned.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So, a few professors from different universities are asking your email ID for contact.
Yeah, my email ID you can share. You can share. Let me text also in the chat box. In the first slide I have given. Let me. So I hope you have you have my mail ID. So I don't know.
Yes, sir. I will share it.
So you can share my mail ID and WhatsApp number to all the participants.
Sure, sir. I will share.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, one more small clarification, if you can help us.
Please.
Like polymer processing, 3D printing are available only for particular materials, right?
Yeah.
Say for example, ABS, nylon,
yes,
or PLA.
Sir, can I take the question off the line, because it's moving urgent. I am moving urgently.
Okay.
So please, you can take the question, sir. Please, we will discuss in future. Sir, we are trying to develop a new material. We have purchased a special machine from USA to develop a new material. So please, you can approach me, sir.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Dinkaran, sir, for clearing all the doubts with such patience and proficiency. That was an amazing experience for all of us present here to great learn on the topic.
Yeah, thank you.
And sir, I just want to introduce our faculty advisor, who is the backbone of our team.
Please.
Next, I would like to thank Mr. Vinod sir for being here with us. He is serving as a faculty advisor for this chapter and guiding us through every step for making sessions like this possible. He himself holds many research interests as well. He shares diverse knowledge with students in areas like engineering, mechanics, CAD and analysis, manufacturing and technology, and various more. He is currently working as assistant professor at SRM KTR campus, and he is also best teachers we have. Now, I would like to...
Thank you, Zoe, for the short introduction. I think sir is running out of time. We can discuss further, sir. And thank you once again for your valuable time was spent here for accepting our invitation and being a resource person for this talk, sir. Later in future, we'll try to collaborate with you with some sort of work, sir. Right?
Sure, sir. Thank you for the organizers and thank you for the participants. Thank you so much. We would like to meet in some other webinars. Thank you so much.
Thank you
very
so
much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. More such talks and many great events are coming. Be sure to join if you are interested. On this note, we conclude today's talk. Thank you. Please follow us on different social platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Be a part of this chapter.
Participants do join the WhatsApp group for further communication. It will be easier for us to communicate our upcoming events. Thank you.